Ziggs is just an all-round strong mid-lane champion, so will synergize well with the AoE damage that both Tibbers and Cyclone from Wukong will be bringing into the mix. So definitely one to watch out for when the team fights kick off.
And not only that, the lane against Yasuo, Ziggs can kind of farm from further back, so it's not actually too bad a lane. Yasuo is one of those champions that people were trying to figure out exactly how you deal with him. And I think this is more of what we expected here by the position that these champions are locking in. It will be the jungle Evelynn with the top lane Shyvana and a mid lane Yasuo.
Yeah, that does indicate though that NIQ in mid lane as Ziggs is going to have to be super careful, because the ganking potential with the whirlwind, the Q coming in from Yasuo and then Evelynn popping in the lane as well out of nowhere. If Ziggs' satchel charge and flasher down, he's going to be so vulnerable. So as you say, he's going to have to farm from range here and try and be a bit safer.
And I believe this will be the last lock-in, so it means we should be heading into game fairly shortly now. So, taking a look at these team compositions, I'm just trying to kind of pace them out, because unfortunately not all the teams have got into the order, which, you know, it makes it slightly easier to see all of the lane matchups. But it looks to be a very interesting matchup at the very least, and I wonder whether it'll be quite as interesting as the last series, which if you did miss, make sure you can check out the VODs as well from Cloud9 versus Reason Gaming. That was one heck of a series to begin the day. But SK versus Departed should be pretty sweet indeed. And we are about to head... There we go, they finally locked it in. Kind of waiting for that one for a little bit there. So the teams are letting us hold on to that.
They were, so that's going to be all the champions locked in here. We're going to be loading into Summoner's Rift for the first game in this best of 3 from SK Gaming Prime and Departed. But before we jump in there, Stress, I believe you have some information on one of our partners here at Chaos TV, Esports Venture.
I do indeed. As we have a couple of minutes here before we get into the game, make sure you scroll down on the Twitch page, follow the link over to Esports Venture, check out our friends over at Esports Venture, where you can bet on LCS matchups. I believe there's even, I kind of want to say OGN, but that might not be right. I know you can, however, bet on the Chaos TV semi-finals and finals once they are decided in the brackets. So they'll go up and you can put bets down on who you think are going to advance. My money, kind of insider tip here, I kind of feel like you should put some money on Cloud9, but that's just because they looked pretty special in the last series. But we are heading into the delay period. Head over to Esports Venture, put !bet in chat, and get your bets down. We will be back in a couple of minutes with game number 1 of our best of 3 here between SK Gaming Prime and Departed. Don't go anywhere.
Transform. Transform your state of mind. this mystical world. Transform your state of mind. Transform your state of mind. State of mind.
Hello ladies and gents, welcome back to Chems TV's live coverage, and we are finally into the second best of three between Departed and SK Gaming Prime. I'm Metas, joined by Stress, and as you can see, we are live on the Rift.
We are indeed. Mozilla finds himself Baboonia in Tribush.
He does. Don't think anything's going to happen because Perry's Evelyn was very close to the action, so he is going to be backing on away and actually recalling as well. Or is he?
He's going to be forced not to recall, so Baboonia wants to keep that damage on as long as possible. Now, an interesting little note here is that ever since he's actually just not getting the recall, but ever since the nerfs to Doran's shield, we've seen ever so slight changes to some stats. So you can see Shyvana's actually going cloth armor rather than that Doran's shield, which gives her the extra potions, but less sustain when potions aren't active, if that makes sense. Also, doesn't quite as easily build into an item unless you're going Ninja Tabi. So just one of those things that Doran's Shield, typically you buy it, gives you good stats, and it's there, and you just sell it later. Whereas Cloth Armor kind of works into a build later on down the line.
Yeah, that is old school builds as well. That's going back a year or two when Heart of Gold reigned supreme on pretty much everybody in the game. So it's nice to see how things go back again. And we've seen plenty of meta shifts tonight already, actually, Stress. Very entertaining best of 3 before, which you should definitely check out on KSTV's YouTube channel with the VODs. But into this game, as you say, that cloth armor is going to do a pretty nice job as well of mitigating a lot of the damage that Babuni is going to be throwing out in the laning phase.
The problem is, Trundle was brought in as kind of a counter pick to Shyvana, so it's one of those things that seeing Shyvana Trundle matchup here, you feel like Trundle is just kind of going to trade against Shyvana very well post level 6, but Babunia hit level 2 first, so Mozilla was under a little pressure there, and you can see Kikis just taking down his jungle. He will be around the top and mid area for the next 30 seconds or so. So looking for any kind of counter invades, anything like that, but nothing's really going to happen with the junglers for the next couple of minutes.
Yeah, definitely. Unless someone starts to push very aggressively, it doesn't look too likely. Yasuo's pushing mid, but you can see that Exile's intentions are fairly clear. Push the lane, stay safe, don't get yourself caught out from Wukong. So yeah, it's pretty much going to be a farming frenzy for the next few minutes, you have to think.
Something we didn't really pick up on in the Champion Select is this Karma pickup. So she was played a couple of times over the weekend, predominantly in 2v1 lanes, actually, which was a tweet that Monte Cristo sent out about OGN, and I believe it was, I want to say it was Katie Rolster A actually did in OGN, and then subsequently KTB did it in IEM Katowice. But this time we're seeing it in the 2v2 situation and has that Spell Thief's edge as well. So Karma Sivir, a lot of mobility in that lane, a lot of ways of deterring engages, and also even like landing the harass from the Qs from Karma as well, landing the slows. A lot of damage just in some harassment there.
Yeah, speaking of harassment, as you're talking there, LIQ actually got ganked and was forced to flash away in mid. So as I was saying, the Champion Select, if he doesn't have his flash, if his satchel charges on cooldown, he has to be ultra passive against both an Evelynn and a Yasuo. So you can already see his intention. I'm just going to sit by my tower, farm from range and play safe.
Luckily, that's one of the benefits that he does have, and will have easier as he gets blue buff, so in about 3 minutes time. So for now, he's kind of just has to sit there and try and farm up with Q. But that's going to give Perry a little bit of room here, maybe to look for bottom. They've already had Caitlyn pretty low here.
They do, but can they seal the deal? Because the lane is it's not necessarily pushing, it's keeping rather equal. And this is keeping Woolite and Perm a bit too far away right now for Evelynn to get in close to. It doesn't really have a gap closer other than a speed up. So for now, I'm not too sure this is going to happen.
Perry is using a lot of time here in this bottom lane as well. Like, that's a significant amount of time he's spent down there, and it's actually just going to recoil out from this.
Yeah, that's the problem, that Karma can slow you, but she can't really stun you. She can also do a bit of damage, but not enough to insta-burst the likes of Perm, who has the Pyromania up the entire time. So Perry would not have been able to get close enough to really make anything happen there. Boomerang Blade is chunking down Woolite, though.
Yeah, this early on in the game, it's very difficult for Six to get the tether to actually lock and root them in place, that focused resolve. Looking for it here, though.
Vanalan is taking so much damage. Boomerang Blade is fired out as well. Flash in from Kikis. He will be finishing off that kill, actually. I was about to say he's picking up first blood. It was actually Annie that secures that first kill, but very nice play. Nice bait in there from Woolite.
And that's just good timing there from Departed. They kind of knew that SK Prime were overextending a fair amount, and a nice timing window that Perry had gone back. But again, aggressive in the middle lane is Exile.
He is. He's constantly putting back NIQ. He's actually going to start recalling. Has hit level 6. And a pause has came in. Apparently it's TeamSpeak problems on the side of Departed, so hopefully they'll be fixed very soon.
Yeah, thankfully they take a couple of, maybe a minute to fix, so normally not too big an issue. Thankfully it's not a server problem, because we know the servers have been under a little bit of load today, which not too good, as the servers did go down in between the previous game and this series, but they're kind of back up, kind of working, chugging along just about, so hopefully they'll stick with us here.
I have to admit, I was a bit worried there that they were having lag issues in game.
Yeah,
so I'm happy it was TS. Yeah, when it came up, I was like, my eyes were right on the chat. They're asking if the opposition is ready, and we do, as you see, have the unpause coming into effect. So as we were talking about before, NIQ is recalling, has hit level 6, and Perry is going to try and steal away some of this opposition jungle, but in the meanwhile, could actually find himself toe-to-toe with Wukong.
And up in that bottom lane again, there's a lot of trading between the two top laners. Now, Babunia traded with Mozilla. They traded ultimates as well. Mozilla flashed. I'm wondering, but neither flash is available in that top lane, and Mozilla is now just going to try and force out a fight here because Babunia can't engage into minions.
Meanwhile, ping's going down in mid. Perry stealing away the wolves. Well, that bomb isn't going to be quite enough from NIQ to steal that one away. In fact, Perry's been caught there from Annie. Will be taking so much damage, and there's the kill from Kikis.
That's a big kill there onto the jungler. It really prevents them from doing too much here, as Perry now not available to contest any kind of dragon attempts. And with bottom lane being shoved in a fair amount, you have to think Departed are going to rotate towards the dragon here? Maybe not then. Doesn't look like they want to, but might have been an open window for that.
Yeah, could very well be the case. Bot lane, Perm is taking quite a bit there from 6, but at the meanwhile, Van Allen was taking quite a bit from Woolite, so they couldn't really capitalise on any of that, and it just turns out to be fairly equal overall, although Departed are pushing very aggressively to the tower, actually, of SK Gaming Prime, and this is pretty much because they know that Evelyn's nowhere near to be found, so can't really change the state of this bot lane. It's actually taking down the blue buff.
Departed, as yet, haven't established the deep wards that you really need to control an Evelyn, but the fact that they picked up the kill onto it kind of gives them a little bit of respite and gives them a little bit of a time period where those deep wards as yet aren't too important, because they can read that she will have been at blue, she'll be at red sometime soon, and then after that they can get the wards up. They wouldn't be expecting her elsewhere, but they do need to establish those wards fairly soon. Otherwise, once again, SK will be in a situation where Perry can start to look to get into lane, and that's where Eve is dangerous.
Yep, Kikis has just picked up the red buff for himself, and you can see some pings going across the board here, but pretty nice ward coverage actually from the side of SK Gaming Prime. They have a plethora of wards in that river area, especially around the dragon area itself, so that's going to give them plenty of knowledge and allow and free up both Woolite and Perma bot lane to push a bit more aggressively.
Kikis is going to clear out a pink ward there as well, so just reducing the vision of SK a little bit, but as yet, it's somewhat of a passive game. We've seen a couple of kills go on that bottom lane, but not really explosive yet, waiting for the mid-game for that really to kick off. And I'm wondering, SK, other than the Dragon's Descent, don't exactly have the best amount of knockups here to combo on with that Yasuo ultimate. And another important factor to keep track of is Mozilla has taken Teleport, which not only gives them increased dragon control, but the problem is it means he's trading against Babunia. He can't cut that lifesteal at all. So it is kind of one of those decisions in lane that unless they get a lot of value out of that dragon control, which as of yet they don't have it available, here's the fight in bottom lane.
Engage coming in, 3v2 situation. Burm's taking the brunt of the damage for his AD carry, who will be falling down. Question is, who's going to pick it up? It will be Van Allen on Sivir, and they do get a bit of revenge from that previous gank that came in from Wukong, so they do get that kill.
They did, and up in the top lane at the same time, they forced the Dragon's Descent out from Mozilla as they went for the 2v1 dive up top. So will they get the turret from that? It hasn't really taken any damage, but they will look to force it.
Well, they are going to be trying to trade off this top tower for the dragon. It's just Caitlyn that can really stop them because Ziggs is pushing the mid lane. So this should be a free dragon right now. I say free, it's at the cost of their top tower. But regardless, they are going to pick it up either way. And an important thing to mention as well that I haven't touched on just yet, Stress, is that typically Sivir does not very well in lane against Caitlyn. And yet you look at the CS and you look at how Sivir is doing, he's actually standing toe-to-toe with Woolite.
Yeah, Woolite's actually taken a lot of damage from the harass that's come out from Six and Svanillan, but it gets locked down onto Six. That is a kill going in favor of Departed.
Yep, Caitlyn picks that one up with ease, but it was a flash in from Perm, so Flash Tibbers is not going to be on the cards for a little while at bot lane. You did see Perry moving around from the side, thought for a couple seconds about chasing on in, but smart play, have to say, from Departed's bot lane. They didn't overextend, they got the kill, and they're just happy to farm it out.
Yeah, and you were talking about that CS difference. Now it's been evened up.
Yeah.
Now the kills are even. Really, only the dragon and the tower gold is any difference. Yeah, it's under 100 difference between the 280 carries on their gold. But now they've extended. They're actually going to go under the turret.
This is a questionable play, I have to say. Perm's taking a lot of damage right now. Flash in from Van Allen, looking for his second kill, but it's actually Evelyn that secures that one down. Pinging onto a light. Here comes Kikis from the side. Can they turn this one back around again? Kikis is looking to jump in with his Nimbus strike, and smart play coming in here. Exile turns around the corner, takes down Caitlyn, and that dive was simply not on the cards. Even if Wukong was down there, I have to feel in a 2v3, they still would have came out second best.
I'm confused at why they dove that, but Babunia now
Same.
trading on against Mozilla in that top lane.
Yeah, he is. He's popped his ultimate, he's popped the Subjugate, but Dragon's Descent is going to be enough to keep Mozilla alive.
Again, I'm just a little surprised that they'd go for that. I don't know. Under a turret, not a lot of minions. Just doesn't seem like the most advantageous dive to be going for, and they get punished for it. I mean, didn't even have the mana on Woolita to 90 caliber net over the wall, so confusing.
Yeah, very much so, because Spell Shield was available, Barrier was available, Sivir had pretty much full hit points, and Flash as well, I believe. And they had no vision of where Evelyn was, so all those put together is not a good deal, but Babunia has been ganked at top lane from Perry, will be flashing away and putting that Pillar of Filth, Pillar of Ice down. And this should turn into a tower, however, for SK Gaming Prime.
Yeah, the pillar kept him alive, but won't keep the tower alive, because now that's even up in that top lane with the towers. 1,000 gold is the lead for SK Gaming Prime. That's the dragon that separates the two. Nice whirlwind.
Ultimate coming down as well from Exile. Maybe doesn't want to chase too deep because there is Kikis underneath the tower. And he has got enough damage to make that worthwhile for now. But Kikis is waiting. He's looking for that re-engage.
But now Exile has taken enough health off NIQ to really just make it so the Ziggs can't stick around. Another Steel Tempest may, drop him lower again, and it's one of those things that he just needs to wait for last breath. He's only on an 80-second cooldown right now, but now they found Perm in the jungle.
They have completely a no man's land, and he should be falling here. Tibbers was used. Perm is going to go down from Exile, so that's another kill on Yasuo in the mid lane, looking to pick up his third. However, Cyclone comes on through. Mega Inferno Bomb just catching the edge, I have to think there. Kikis eats an Ignite as well. Here comes Ace in the Holo from Caitlyn. Will be tanked out from 6, and they back on away in that 1-for-0 trade.
Oh man, Exile survived, would you believe it, with the Way of the Wanderer, with the shield that charged up from that. The Ignite was ticking as Kikis gets taken down in the bottom lane for being a little too far out. The Ignite was ticking him down. He stacked the flow meter in between the last 2 ticks of Ignite, and the shield kept him alive.
It was so close to him falling down there, but he still manages to go unkilled so far in this game. Has picked up the Static Shiv as his first main item to go across with the Berserker Greaves, so he's looking to get some flurry of auto attacks down there in the mid lane. Meanwhile at bot, Woolite eats another Boomerang Blade, but there's just so much trading potential in the hands of Departed that Van Allen, you can see how far back he is, because he's very cautious of Perm just jumping on in there with the stun. Unbeknownst to him though, Flash is still on cooldown for a few more seconds.
Oh, SK, they just keep finding members of Departed, and Departed feel like they're playing this one as if they're ahead. I have to say they're extending fairly deep. They're looking for picks and dives when they're not in the situation to do that, and it's a little bit surprising.
Well, there's a gank coming down at bot lane here from Parry. Are they going to be able to connect the dots here and pick up these kills? Because again, they don't have a great deal of engaging utility. 90 caliber net could just spell the end of that gank outright. Indeed, so they don't even pop any summoners.
Mozilla's actually having a really good time against Babunia in this top lane as well, and you can see Babunia already fairly low on health, forced to use that Subjugate ultimate. It's not standard of the Shyvana Trundle lane for it to be quite as advantageous to Shyvana in these trades as it is right now, but the sooner Trundle gets the ability to trade against Shyvana, the better that'll be for him. He's looking for that Blade of the Rune King Sunfire Cape. He's also picked up Negatron Cloak, currently set on 1700 mid lane once again.
Yeah, and IQ and Exile really going at it blow for blow right now. with NIQ coming out slightly behind in terms of gold. Has an assist, is yet to die himself, but that 2 kills on Yasuo from the bot lane. I believe he got 1 on Caitlyn and 1 on Annie previously is what separates the 2 mid laners right now. Kikis is hiding around lurking in the shadows right now. But again, I don't feel there's a great deal of any kill coming off here. Both junglers, they've tried their best, but ganking really hasn't been on the cards.
Neither of them are actually on a particularly gank-heavy early-game jungler.
Yeah.
Eve struggles to get into lane this early on without something like a Thresh Lantern, very similar with Wukong. He can use the clone, but here's the engage.
Mega Inferno Bomb on top of Cyclone is so much damage. Ace in the hole comes through. 6 will be tanking that one way. Now NIQ is in contention to find himself 6 feet under. Double kill coming in from Yasuo, who jumps on a 4-0. And that was a 3-0 trade overall with the Dragon on top of it. Huge plays for SK Gaming Prime.
A big static shift crit came out there and actually hit 3 members of Departed. And SK, we're seeing once again Exile putting a great performance in from the mid lane. 4-0-1 already in this game. We're only 17.5 minutes in. That's the Dragon as well going to them with that tower. It's a big spike in gold.
Very, very big, and that is going to equate into pretty big items as well for Yasuo. 2,000 gold to spend for him, 2.5 for Sivir, 1.5 for Shyvana. So when they do finally go back here, Stress, they're going to be coming back with a vengeance. I would not like to be in Departed's position right now in this game.
Yeah, Departed, I mean, we've seen this team time and time again, and they've looked better than this. I'm just going to be honest. I'm not calling anybody out, but Departed are making a couple of decisions that are a little bit suspect in this game. That's not to say that, you know, they can't come back into this, but a 4-0-1 Yasuo is a significant way ahead, and it may have caught NIQ.
Yeah, he's not looking in a great position. Minefield goes down. Is it going to be enough damage? No, it's not. And Kikis was coming around from the side, so better to play safe than sorry. Plus the fact that Exile's flash is down, so is Perry. So smart play to back away in the end.
Yeah, I mean, with that flash being down now, it really leaves Ziggs in a tough spot against the Yasuo, because all he's got to do is land one of those Steel Tempests, and you can see Exile just using his kit to his advantage, uses the Wind Wall to get the vision to get over to the Wraiths. So clearly knows the champion very well, and we're seeing that once again in this game.
Well, we're reaching that kind of lull in the action where, in games like this, Stress, you pick up a dragon and then it's like farming frenzy until the next dragon or next objective. But Bunia and Mozilla are going to constantly go at this, but no one's going to fall. That being said, NIQ gets caught out of position. So I'm talking about the next fight maybe going off the dragon. If someone gets caught, that's going to equate into possibly objectives. Kikis is going to use his cycle underneath that tower. Double kill for Yasuo, who moves on 6-0. And he did pick up both a BF sword and a vampiric scepter when he went back to spawn. They should be picking up this tower as well.
Oh man, how do you stop this train that's just running down the tracks? A 6-0-1 Yasuo, and to be honest, Yasuo did receive the nerfs, remember, so it's not like the same Yasuo from release. Still very strong, but typically needs the right combo to be strong. Babunia is kind of getting baited here, because here comes the rest of SK.
Oh, this is just curtains right now for the side of Departed. 7th kill picked up on Exile, and this is quickly snowballing away from them. I honestly thought this would be a slow, steady approach. Mozilla very nearly falls down. He recalls in the nick of time as a Mega Inferno Bomb is about to land. But the problem is that once NIQ got caught, suddenly that escalated into 2 towers and 2 or 3 kills falling as well.
And you can see even in the bottom lane, it's going well for SK Prime. 5 assists onto Sivir alongside the 2 kills, and a lot of turret gold as well. They've waited for Kikis, they found him.
Yeah, flashes and decoys himself away for now, but Exile is going to be giving a hot chase with the static Shiv has already closed the gap. There is the Steel Tempest, there is the last breath, and there is the 8th kill to Exile. How do you deal with an 8-0 Yasuo? That is terrifying.
20 minutes into the game, you don't. That's as simple as it is. I don't know how you shut this down.
I'm trying to think of a way where I can see Departed pulling themselves out of this gaping hole, but honestly, unless Exile makes some huge throws, I can't see it happening. I like to be optimistic, but this is just such a big deficit they're facing.
If Departed can rotate around their base and defend their inhibitor turrets, using Caitlyn, using Ziggs, that's the one thing they've got to their benefit, is their wave clear is very good for defending inhibitor turrets. However, then this is the big however, Wind Wall just completely negates all of that for a brief period of time. So it's possible that not even the strong wave clear of Ziggs and Caitlyn is going to be all that useful for some of these fights, because all they have to do is get the picks, and then from there, turrets are going to start tumbling.
Well, we did see an epic comeback from Cloud9 Eclipse in the previous best of 3, but I feel this is more stacked against Departed, because you have a very strong champion with 8 and 0, who just finished off his Infinity Edge, by the way, so that's an IE and static Shiv at 21, nearly 22 minutes in the game. He is going to be two-shotting people, literally two-shotting the likes of Caitlyn.
Yeah, and again, going back to the similarities and the differences of the Cloud9 series, I was very vocal in the Cloud9 series of the fact that Sivir is kind of difficult to siege a turret on, and normally that would be extra difficult against Ziggs and the Caitlyn because of the extra range, the extra wave clear that they have. But it's all about the picks and the wind wall and the follow-up from the Dragon's Descent as well. There's just so much, and again, Babuni is getting baited into this top lane fight. Here comes the rest of the damage from SK.
And IQ is here though, so he's able to, well, I was going to say he would be able to satchel charge and maybe minefield the ground there to buy up Babunia some time, but they gave up chase there, SK Gaming Prime. They didn't want to chase that one down. They're pinging towards the Baron, and honestly, this they're going to pick up very quickly. With the champions they have, they would take that down quickly. Instead, they're going to go for the trap.
And that could be a big bait here if Departed continue to move forward. This could be very bad for Departed.
Yeah, Windwall did block out that bouncing bomb, but you are going to see on the hunt straight away Mega Inferno Bomb comes through, but pretty much just tickles everybody. Perry's going to pick up that second kill. A 2-for-0 trade, and now the world is SK Gaming Prime's oyster. If they so choose, they could pick up this Baron very comfortably.
Yeah, they're not even going to get there. It's a surrender vote coming out from Departed with a very, very one-sided from the mid lane game. I was not expecting that from the beginning of that game, but Exile was given an inch and just ran a mile.
And honestly, when I'm thinking back to this game, Stress, this all snowballed off that really poor dive attempt from Departed. They had the advantage at bot lane, and for some reason they went for the dive. That caught them out, and they ended up giving the first kill that Yasuo received out of that dive, because he rotated down to the bot lane and picked up the last hit on Caitlyn, I believe it was. So